Bitcoin soaring above $45,000 today for the first time since April 2022 and hanging on to its gains, by the way, as we move through the session as the rally in crypto rolls over into the new year. The entire space reaping the benefits of this bull run. Mining stocks, crypto mining stocks saw huge gains last year, as you can see. And it all comes as traders grow excited about both the possible approval of a Bitcoin ETF in the U.S., as well as the potential of Bitcoin halving this spring that people say could catalyze a price rally. Here to discuss CNBC.com crypto reporters MacKenzie, Sigalos, and Tanaya, Macheel. Welcome to both of you. MacKenzie, I'll just start with you. And is it just the first year? Why so many fund flows and all of a sudden we're off to the races today? What are you hearing?
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's optimism that we could actually hear as soon as this week whether or not some of these spot Bitcoin ETF applications will be approved. The SEC has a deadline of January 10th to give ARK and 21 shares a decision on whether to approve or disapprove their spot application. And there's optimism that it will be a green light this time. You've got some of the biggest names throwing their hat in the ring. BlackRock, June 15th. Since June 15th, when BlackRock put an application in, we've seen an 80% spike in the price of Bitcoin.
Wow.
And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they think that institutional money will flood into the space once we see some approvals.
That's incredible. So they really do face near-term deadlines here for us to know one way or the other. Tanaya, what would you add?
I would add the geopolitical tension in the Red Sea, I think. Remember, Bitcoin has been in kind of a downtrend for the last 3 weeks. Ended December on kind of a low note, but that uptrend is still kind of intact. And remember, so to Mac's point, a lot of this rally is about the potential Bitcoin ETF. But remember that before that ETF narrative came into play in June of last year, it was the U.S. Regional banking crisis here in the U.S. that was the big catalyst. From March 5th to April 30th, we were really seeing Bitcoin rise from the ashes at the beginning of last year, and that was its first sort of 30% spike.
Two questions, MacKenzie. One is, are there Bitcoin ETFs in other countries around the world? What do they own? Do they actually own Bitcoin? Do they own some futures? What do they own? And how have they worked?
In Canada, we have a spot Bitcoin ETF. One of the reasons why people think that this is going to be a sell the news event is because the flows with that ETF haven't been as anticipated. And I think that that's one of the biggest narratives, that we've seen this huge price run up going into this event. But think back to December 2017. There was a lot of optimism around a futures Bitcoin ETF, and that ended up being a negative catalyst for the space. Even Bernstein, that deems a spot Bitcoin ETF as being the greatest financial pipeline ever built between traditional financial markets and the crypto ecosystem, thinks that there will be, that the market will take a pause once these spot ETFs are approved while people wait to see if the flows build momentum.
So when you say spot ETF, you mean they are actually going to own Bitcoin,
exactly,
not futures.
And that's what's so different about this, because it would mean that people don't have to go to an exchange to custody Bitcoin. Instead, BlackRock, Fidelity would work with Coinbase to custody the Bitcoin, and then you have a very, familiar product that you can buy into the space with. And that's why people believe that it will be a game changer.
Tanaya, what is this halving? It sounds like the rapture in the Bible. What is it?
It's a little in the weeds. I'm not going to go too far down, but this is a technical event that happens about every 4 years. And this is built into the code of Bitcoin. It basically cuts the reward that the miners get in half. And that is all designed to create a sort of scarcity effect on the supply. So I think that supply and demand dynamic
is going to create fewer Bitcoin?
Yeah, and I think that's something you're really going to see in play this year. We have all of these big catalysts, the ETF, the halving.
I don't know who they is.
You wonder about the miners who've had this big run up, and yet they're about to face this halving of their rewards.
And ironically, you're seeing this huge price run up in these mining stocks. Marathon Digital and Riot both up more than 10% today. And this cutting of issuance makes the space far more competitive. One other point that I'll make, though, and Tanaya was speaking to this, typically we see a run-up in price every 4 years pegged to this market-making event known as the halving. Last time around, the price of Bitcoin spiked more than 560%. So you have these two major events for the crypto ecosystem that are poised to potentially help bring that price back up.
Well, may your halving be joyous. Thank you both. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.